headlong Southeast states to roll out joint security outfit, Abuja. But what is the lasting solution to Nigeria's current security malaise? We have an expert to analyze on the way forward. Also on political update today, from the podium to the ballot, from the ballot to the courts, an unending cycle and the tussle for legitimacy. Cross River North and other political face-offs yet to find closure. You are on for another half hour of NTA's eclectic political ensemble. I am Fisayo Ogunfuyi. Welcome. Abuja, that is the code name of the joint security outfit the states of the Southeast have come up with to tackle insecurity, rearing its head in that region. The governors, however, say the move is to complement the efforts of the federal government in the fight against insecurity in the country.
The security meeting brought together governors of the 5 Southeast states and heads of security agencies in the region who are in Owerri to deliberate on security challenges facing the Southeast with a view to finding lasting solutions to the series of attacks in the region. Briefing journalists after the meeting held behind closed doors, Chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum, David Umahi, says the forum condemns the act of terrorism and banditry in any part of the country and the Southeast in particular, noting that it stands with the federal government in its fight against insecurity. They further condemned the violent attacks on Owerri Custodial Center and the Imo State Police Command, affirming that the political leaders in the region have resolved to work together to flush out criminals and terrorists from the zone.
The meeting condemns very highly the killings in all Southeast in the recent time, and they asks the federal government and security agencies to bring justice to the victims.
To forestall further security breaches, Governor Mahi says security agencies have been mandated to draw up a comprehensive list of their logistics needs for the attainment of success in the fight against criminality.
The meeting resolved to maintain a joint security vigilante, which already has been formed in the 5 Southeast states for the Southeast, and the joint security outfit to coordinate the activities of our vigilante in the 5 South states shall from today be known and called Abuja Joint Security Outfit for Southeast.
While the meeting encourages peaceful coexistence, the members resolved to set up a committee to coordinate the implementation of the Southeast Joint Security Platform.
It's been a daunting few months in the nation after the commendable efforts to bring society back on an even keel and various positive interventions by government and the private sector. These efforts are now being threatened by the growing phenomena of insecurity gulping a huge chunk of scarce funds and scaring away prospective investors in key sectors of the nation's economy. How can this challenge be decisively tackled so that the nation can focus on growth and development without distraction? Joining us is Major Gabriel Adofiku. We'll get to him in a second, very shortly. But let's quickly go to the next story very, very quickly now. The House of Representatives says the ongoing constitutional review process is an opportunity to enhance the status of the third tier of government. Recall that the conversations or agitations over true autonomy for the local government councils have been on for some time now.
Infrastructure deficit is the root of the low level of socio-economic activities at the grassroots, which give rise to some of the challenges gradually spreading to urban centers. Going by the saying that a chain is as strong as its weakest points, the Deputy Speaker stressed that there has to be a deliberate collective effort to get the local government system working again.
Before the end of this regime, we should deliver on the constitutional amendment a very vibrant, workable local government system that will be truly third tier of government. Not a third tier that when you do federation account allocation, some few persons will go and sit down somewhere in the small room, did all the cuttings, and then send out the peanuts. Meanwhile, the bulk of the problem, be it infrastructure, be it the security, is there at the grassroots.
House Minority Leader Ndudi Elumelu said To be a true representative of the people, empathy is essential, and that can only be achieved with sound knowledge of affairs.
At the end of this exercise, they will be well-groomed, well-informed, and they will be empathic and also see themselves as humble representatives that will go back and showcase all that they have learned here and put them into good use.
Other speakers at the training emphasized that all tiers of government must be accountable to citizens by adhering to rule of law.
All right, to our first discussion on security, Major Gabriel Adofiku joins us all the way from Jos now via phone call. Now, he's a security expert and is the immediate past Secretary General, retired Army, Navy, and Air Force Officers Association right now. Major, thank you for joining us again.
Thank you for keeping me on standby.
All right, let's start the discussion this way. It seems 1 in 3 stories these days is about security. We just heard about Ebubeagu in that report. How did we get to this point? All funds going only majorly to security as we are trying to get the society back on an even keel.
Yes, your question is, if I get you right, is how did we get to this stage?
Yes, go ahead.
Good. We have gotten to this stage because from the time of independence, there has been a gap in our security architecture. That gap was created when we had the military participation in governance, to the point that before the colonial masters left us, we had a chain of security control and management that had, at the local government level, you had the NTA police, what we call the NTA police, the Native Authority Police, and then at the subsequent level, we had the state police and then the federal government. But when the military came in, all that was made, and we now have just one police, the Nigeria police. That gap remained there. And in our political structuring of the country, the gap, governance and policing, there are two pairs that must go at each stage together. We structured Nigeria into local government, states, and federal. We had federal police, no state police, no local government police. We had federal security management structure, no state security management structure, no local government security management structure. Now, what that translated to mean was that gap remained a leakage point for security breaching. That gap also remained a communication gap in our capacity and ability to transmit security-related matters for effective counteraction. So what happened? When the boys came into town, they took advantage of that bad gap, of that existing gap, and began to manifest themselves. And to bring down the federal might, the federal security system, to deal with them, we had to go into all kinds of creations. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense, NSCDC, is a product of the attempt to fill that gap. The current quest for local policing, local gap filling in the security management system is a fallout of that gap. Now we are beginning to feel the pinch of that gap.
Major, let me not cut you, but I need to cut to the heart of the matter. Now, every regional block seems to be coming up with their own, contraptions, physical security contraptions. Will it work?
It will not work, and I'll tell you why. All we need to do now is to sit down together and amicably craft out a the structure that will take in this gap. And let me tell you why it will not work. What is going to happen now is that there is a constitutional lacuna that will obstruct the effective participation of this everybody trying to form his own team at that lower level to bridge this gap. What do I mean? Will the Amotekun,
Ebuagu,
whatever it is now, that has come up, or any other ethnic, socio-ethnic arrangement, will it have the constitutional powers endowed on the police as of today? Which means if we are going to do anything like I earlier mentioned, we need to sit down and agree. We will need to tinker with the constitutional provisions in our security management. Then we will now come to agree that, look, at this point, this is what, so that we don't degenerate to a level where everybody has his own army, in quotes. And once that happens, it will be a direct right into anarchy. So that is why I would have wished at this point in time a very quick action from government, both at the National Assembly level. Let us quickly, as fast as we can, review our constitutional provision for securing this country and fill in this gap, the gap for state, the gap for local government, so that the structure will be smooth and smooth sailing.
All right. Thank you very much for your intervention. We will still call you in the course. Perhaps there will still be another launch of another outfit and all that. But a lot of tailors are happy because uniform are being soon. Moving on now, the People's Democratic Party Primary Election Screening Committee for the Anambra gubernatorial election has begun work in the party's national secretariat in Abuja. Chairman of the committee is former Kogi State Governor Captain Idris Wada.
14 aspirants are jostling for the ticket of the People's Democratic Party for the November 6 Anambra governorship election.
It does not really matter. You can be 20 people to come out to vie for a position. It does not matter for me. What matters is give them level playing ground, do the right thing, finish. Somebody will emerge.
Chairman of the 5-man screening committee and former governor of Kogi State, Captain Idris Wada, is meeting with the aspirants. The committee requires all the aspirants to exercise exemplary conduct and strict adherence to rules and regulations during their assessment.
We are going to be diligent, we are going to be thorough, and we are going to be honest and transparent.
The screening committee promised to justify the confidence reposed in them by the leadership of the PDP.
Watch this space. We'll be right there while watching Anambra decides later in the year. Of course, the Nigerian Television Authority always giving you the news as it breaks. Now, our second conversation is the saga of the contested Cross River North Central Street. Court cases, certificates of return, yet no end in sight. We have Baba Isa, a lawyer and public affairs analyst, right here. Also, following the process, very keenly. First, is this where we are now? We do go from the podium to the ballot to the court before validation.
Yeah, well, it's obvious. That is where we are now, from the podium, then we go to the ballot, then we go to the court before validation. I think it's actually a symptom of our growth, democratically speaking. We are just 22 years old in the democratic experience. So I don't
for the Fourth Republic.
Yeah, for the Fourth Republic. That's what some of us know. That's what some of us were born into. The first democracy we tested, we lived in, is the one that started in 1999 and is still existing. So I don't think the issue or the problem is even the fact that we have this sequence from the podium to the ballot and to the court for validation. I think what the problem is how we even act in the podium when we are at the podium level, how we act at the ballot when we are at the ballot level, and how we act at the court when we are at the court level. You understand? So I think that the rules that guide the podium stage should be adhered to. There are rules and regulations, but we don't adhere to it. Our politicians don't adhere to those rules.
Let me go to one of the issues, you know, right now. Well, we had Stephen Ode here months ago. We had Honorable Jarigbe here. We had some, you know, PDP stakeholders from Cross River as well in their own case. And it's still pending. 2 certificates of return. The Supreme Court has ruled. And yet, what is the status at the moment?
You see, that's what I was saying. This sequence of going to the podium, to the ballot, and to the courts, we don't adhere to the rules, the regulations, the ethos, the ethics that guide these different stages. Now, legally speaking, there are no 2 certificates of return. It's just one. It's just one. INEC has issued Jarigbe Agom Jarigbe a certificate of return in compliance, in obedience with an order of court. That's what they said. That's what they told the world. So stricto sensu, by that very fact, once Jarigbe Agom Jarigbe was issued a certificate of return, that means the certificate of return given to Stephen Ode stands invalidated. It's common sense. That's the law. Why is it like that? Because there is no slot for 2 senatorial candidates or 2 senators from a senatorial district. So if they issue A, certificate of return, and the court say, issue B, once B is issued, that issue to A stands invalidated. But it has not been sworn in. And that's going to be the next question. Why has it not been sworn in? I'm shocked myself. Because I don't know what the Senate is doing or what the Senate President is doing. I really want to know what is going through their minds. I wish they could come out and address us to tell us when they became an institution of government that will decide who becomes a senator or not. That responsibility constitutionally is vested in INEC. So the Senate as an institution, even the executive institution, you sit down and wait. And INEC say, Fisayo has been returned the president of Nigeria. You're sworn in. That's all. So if I'm informed by INEC as an institution, I say Fisayo is now a senator, I lack any...
I didn't campaign though.
I lack any kind of legal, moral standing to begin to question INEC's constitutional responsibility. So that's where we are right now. INEC has issued Jarigbe Agom Jarigbe a certificate of return. So the Senate should swear him in. It's as simple as that.
All right, let's look at what we have seen in the past now. It seems as if we do elections just like we're seeing some primaries going on now. The politician has to keep some money for the court. Apart from campaigns and all, because we have gone through the processes, High Court, Court of Appeal, Supreme Court. This is not very good for our democracy, is it?
Well, the alternative is going to be violence. The alternative is going to be people trying to get into self-help. So I don't think I agree that it's not good for our democracy. I think it's a good process. We'll get to a point where people will say, okay, I don't want to go to court, but we are not there yet. Now, where we are is not that people even go to court. What is bad for our democracy is that even when people go to court and the court make decisions, institutions of government don't obey their institutions, because there are strong men, there are strong women who rather want to be strong men and weaken our institutions. So if you say, what's the problem now? Everything will be fine. You go to the podium, you campaign, you go to the ballot, you vote, and you're not satisfied. You go to court, the court say, first of all, you are the winner, not Fisayo. The institution obey. That's growth. We are growing, we're evolving. So that is not bad for democracy. What is bad for democracy? What is bad for our society? What is bad for advancement is when people go to court, as a case we're having now, and an order, a clear order of court is not being obeyed. That's what is bad.
So moving on, how do we begin to resolve this? Moving forward, especially for our democracy, we're running into 22 years, and even an election is, staring us in the face in Anambra in another few months. Everything is moving towards that now. How do we begin to avoid these pitfalls, and what do we begin to do using this case? For instance?
I think our politicians should be more interested. Re-echoing what former President Barack Obama said when he visited Kenya, our politicians should be interested in building strong institutions instead of becoming strong men. Because why they flat these rules, flat these regulations, disobey court orders, is because they want to flex their muscles and become strongmen. So going forward, you see, while as a lawyer, I know that we have a lot of laws that need amendment, re-amendment, rejigging, and all of that. But besides, the truth of the matter is that even the laws that we have are not being obeyed. I saw the INEC guidelines in the last election, 2015. I've seen their guidelines in the senatorial elections. If we follow those guidelines, if the politicians follow those guidelines, imperfect as they are, we are going to have a good election. And when people go to court to ventilate their grievances, and the court makes a pronouncement, institutions of government, individuals, should do well to obey court. See, it can be anybody tomorrow. Our president, Muhammadu Buhari, was in court several times. Today he's the president. It could be you tomorrow. So you that is saying you're not going to obey a court order. You always obey.
Let's move to the final story on the show. Before we come for the last line, the All Progressives Congress Akwa Ibom chapter rose from its stakeholders meeting with an 8-point resolution affirming that there's no division within its ranks.
The second stakeholders meeting of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Akwa Ibom State for the first quarter of 2021 became necessary as a platform to harmonize, unify, and strategize ahead while declaring null and void any proclamation by individuals or groups that are not in conformity with the provisions of the party's constitution. The meeting agreed that all stakeholders should work together to ensure the party's success in subsequent elections in the state.
The party platform is for you, for your aspiration. It's not only governorship of the state. Members of the House of Assembly are here. You must build a strong platform to be able to win, both men and women.
They are talking continuous membership registration because of the election is going on. So come and register.
Now with the support I am getting from the President Muhammadu Buhari, the support I'm getting from APC, from Akwa Ibom State, and the support I'm getting from my friends around the region, we will move this region to higher heights. Let us do everything to come together to win the election.
While appreciating those who have supported in the reconstruction of the party's secretariat, which was looted during NSAS protests, the party's caretaker chairman calls for more support for the completion of the project.
1 minute last line on the show. Barrister Issa is still here. What are your final thoughts on the show?
Well, my final thoughts are, the Senate as an institution is the first estate of the realm. I want to enjoin the Senate president not to project the Senate or the Senate institution, not to project itself as an institution that makes laws and yet will not obey the decision of the court. I would advise strongly that Jarigbe Agom should be sworn in, and let us, as you said, Fisayo, obey the rules of every stage, the podium stage, the ballot stage, the court stage, and our democracy will be better for it.
All right. And of course, let me congratulate you also, because I was almost afraid that your voice would not come out during the program. Lawyers have a way of still projecting even when they've lost their voice. So, my name. Thank you for joining Political Update today. And many thanks to Major Gabriel Adofiku, who also came in with his intervention from Jos on the new security outfit from the Southeast. That has been the size of the show today. We'll be back on Friday with a brighter package, hoping that you continue to play your politics for the greater good. Bye-bye now.